All right, we're back. My name is Marco, and our first question for our graduate today is, what is your name?
My name is Daniel Brothers.
Perfect. So, the game we have today is that you're going to be looking for birds, statues or real, in this park we're at. And at the end, we'll ask you how many you counted. So,
I hope there's a contest, a surprise at the end, because I like the competitive nature of everything.
perfect. Okay, so what did you get your degree in from WGU?
I earned a Bachelor of Science in Business Management.
Where are you from?
Burlington, Massachusetts, just outside of the great city of Boston.
Cool. Did you go into Boston a lot?
Yeah, we tend to sit there and spend some time in Boston. The good part about the outside of Boston, a lot of the suburbs are built up commercially, so there's a lot you can do outside the city, but we do spend a decent amount of time in the city doing different things.
All right. Have you been to any of the parks in Orlando before?
Yes, we have. We've been to, and we're going to do it again this weekend. We've been to Universal a couple of times. We've been to SeaWorld, and of course we've done all the parks at Disney as well. Mostly when my two sons were younger, but we're going to be kids again this weekend as well and spend some time at Universal.
That's fun. Do you have recommendations for first timers?
Yeah, first timers is make sure you have a little bit of a plan ahead. I tend to be, my family calls me Clark Griswold from the vacation series, and I'm big on planning. Take advantage of the downtimes. Lunchtime's a great time to be out in the park. Go early. If they offer a late night, go out in the late night time as well. Usually if you're in the inner circle of the hotels, you get to go early and stay late.
Okay, that's a really good tip. What is something you've done for the first time recently?
Wow, I wish I could say it was skydiving or parasailing, but it's not. Something I've done for the first time. How about earned my college degree within the last year, 2021. It was a big step, and I'm sure that we'll talk more about that, but that was really a big step in my life, and I completed last year.
That's awesome. I would applaud, but I have an iPad in my hand.
Quick.
That's awesome though. What did you need to be able to study well?
It's funny because I'm on a couple of chat groups and blogs with people, and I think the most difficult thing to do is to be able to discipline yourself. Flying down today, my wife and I were talking about it, and she said, I just can't believe the discipline you had. And I'll speak more about it this weekend, but I always tell people, schedule, and stick to it. Go Sunday night and say, all right, here's my schedule for the week. Monday morning, 5 a.m., 2 hours of studying. Monday night, 7 p.m., 2 hours of studying, and then back at it the next day. I think that was the key to my success. I was able to schedule things, and of course, you had to face the music once a week when you talk to your program mentors. And so, but I think scheduling and discipline are the two most important and key elements to be successful in this program.
Cool. What was your favorite class at WGU?
You know, it's funny, I had a feeling someone's going to ask me that this weekend. No doubt it was business law. I really enjoyed that class, with finance a close second. I think with the business law, I've been involved in some management positions throughout my career, and I think we knew what the laws were, but to be able to fully understand them was a big plus for me. I really enjoyed that one, probably more than any of them. And finance was second, to kind of understand how money works, but business law was definitely at the top of my list.
That's really cool. Have you ever met Sage?
No, I haven't met Sage. I'm looking forward to it. And actually, quite frankly, I don't want to meet your Sage. I want to meet the real Sage. I hear there's going to be a live owl somewhere. So, but nonetheless, Sage is on all of our pages. It's on all of our correspondence. So
yes.
I'm looking forward to meeting the caricature of Sage.
Yes, for sure. So what would you ask Sage right now if you had one question?
Wow. Can he fly? I would like to sit there and see. No, I think that has his popularity changed him at all? Because obviously, I believe Western Governors is growing, and I think that part of the ambiance and part of the reputation is Sage's character. I mean, when I first started a few years ago, Night Owl was okay. It's a night owl, but then Sage has become more prevalent in documentation on websites, and of course, we're going to be part of this weekend.
Those are really good questions. Something I've never thought of. Did you go to school before WGU?
I did. I went to Nichols College for a year. I don't want to mention what year it was because it might spoil a little of my surprise over the next couple of days, but it was a long time ago. And circumstances ended up pulling me away from there. So, but yes, I did a year at traditional brick and mortar college. I took a couple of classes here and there, and then made the commitment to WGU several years ago, and I was happy and proud to finish.
So why did you decide to try school again?
You know, it's funny, and I just felt that something was missing. You see a lot of people who have degrees, who've earned them, and you say, "Wow, I'm no different than that person there." And what it was is that I didn't have the degree. It did limit me some professionally, which is part of the reason. But the big reason is that I just kind of felt that I wanted to be like the other people I knew. I wanted to sit there and kind of put myself on that equivalence there. And once I decided to do it, it was all in, and it was let's get to the finish line. Oh, that was always a challenge or two, but nonetheless, I think that was the biggest reason I did that.
That's cool. Speaking of the people that you wanted to be like, who motivated you to finish your degree?
You know, it's funny, and I'm going to share this weekend. I have a newspaper reporter to thank for it. Now, we had done an interview, and at the end he said, "Boy, there's not much you haven't done." And I said, "Well, I haven't got a college degree." And he said, "Well, why not now?" And those words resonated with me. I didn't forget those words. I didn't, they kind of hit home. And that's when I started to realize, you know what, it could help me professionally, but from a personal perspective, that's what I wanted to do. And that's the reason why I did it.
Very cool. What would your younger self think of you today?
Well, I've got two younger selves as my two sons, who are a lot like me, even though I don't want to admit that. I think that my younger self would think that I've accomplished a lot, both personally and professionally. I have a wide circle of friends and acquaintances who I deal with all the time, and he'd say he's a pretty good guy, I think. I think that he would be proud of where I've become, and I think that he would be happy with who I am.
That's awesome. So looking at your younger self again, what advice would you give him?
Advice I would give him is don't wait as long as I did to get his degree. I think that it's important to be able to sit there and capture the moment at the time. There were some circumstances with me, and I don't know if we're going to talk about them today or you'll hear about them this weekend, but I think the big thing is that you know, time is much more available to you as you're young. As you grow older, life gets in the way. Certain things happen in your life, there's certain landmarks, and during that time in life, what ends up happening is that your time is limited. So I know you young people all think that you're busy and what have you not, but you have more time when you're young than you'll ever have as you get older. So my advice would be is to try to finish traditionally and go on from there.
Amazing. What comforts you during difficult times?
Wow, that's a tough one. I've always been in some high, I don't want to say stress, because I think that high stress has to go for first responders and people who are in hospitals, who work there. But I think that what I've been able to do is, as I've gotten older in my career and what have you not, been able to sit there and really examine the situation that you're in. I look at the situation, look at the alternatives to sit there and correct it and move forward. You can't get too caught up where you're letting a situation control you versus you control the situation. And you cannot take anything personal. I think if you take things personally, that's when you get off track and the situation controls you.
It's a good piece of advice.
You're all young, you know that.
What has been your happiest time in life?
The birth of my two sons. They're the real special times in anyone's life. Anyone who's a parent knows that. The creation of life is just beautiful, and it's a lot of work, but the work is rewarding. You know, we're going to celebrate this weekend as a family, and that's what's really important. So my marriage is right there with it. My wife's going to be mad at me for not mentioning that, but between the marriage and then subsequently the birth of my two children are happiest moments you just can't replace.
I love that. What's one thing that you could do forever and never get bored of?
Wow. And you said it was going to be an easy quiz here. Now it's stump the interviewee. I would probably say spend time with family in social events. My family personally, we've got about 3 or 4 weddings coming up. Really looking forward to those. I think that's the most, if you were to say I can never get tired of it, I don't get tired of it. We sit there and we make sure we make all those functions. Outside of family stuff, just enjoying the time that you have when you have that time, be it Orlando this weekend. I come down, it was more than fly in for graduation and go home. It was, let's go down for a few days, let's enjoy the few days that we have, and really, really enjoy that with the people that you're with. So I think those are the ones that really count the most.
What is something that means a lot to you that few people would understand?
This is getting harder. This is getting to be like a proctored exam.
Don't worry.
The first 3 questions are easy, and then I think loyalty is something that's important to me. I'm loyal to a lot of people. I'll admit that, sometimes to a fault, but I think loyalty is a two-way street, and loyalty to each other is very, very important to me personally, and I think to the way I like to live my life.
Okay, this is your last question. How many birds did you find?
I've counted 6 at this point in time right now, so I'm not quite sure. 1 was live and 5 were not live, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, make it 7, because there's one right beyond our camera person today that I'm not sure whether or not you were counting. But 7 birds, 6 live and 6 statues and 1 live.
Perfect. Well, I trust you. I didn't count, so awesome.
Well, it's funny. I found myself halfway through saying, "Uh-oh, how many were there?" You probably noticed my eyes started to wander a little bit, trying to pick out to make sure that I didn't miss any.
Well, thank you for participating with us today. This is Daniel Brothers.
Thank you.